What's up, everybody? Hold on one quick second. One quick second. Hold on. Y'all come on in the room. Matter of fact, though, come on in the room. Come on in the room. And hold on. I am trying to do one quick thing. So, y'all come on in the room. Let me do something. Okay, hold on. Just in case y'all wonder what I'm doing, I got to plug in all my ways. I mean, all my platforms. So, give me a quick second. Alrighty. So let's do this. Alrighty, I think everything is good. So yes, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award-winning author, filmmaker, and empowerment specialist, Toneal M. Jackson, and I want to welcome you to an all-new educated and empowered, get educated and empowered with Toneal, and I am your host, Toneal M. Jackson. And so today, guys, we are talking about titles and how to separate yourself and get your, make sure that when you show up, you're showing up how you want to show up, right? So this is really, it could have been personal growth, professional development, but we're going to put it under personal growth because of the context that I want to use this in. Okay, so let's say this: if you are the type of person that have multiple titles or you wear multiple hats, then this is probably going to help you. This show will help you if you know you get tired of maybe when you come up somewhere, like you visit somewhere, you don't want to be known as, first lady, as, esquire, as such and such's wife or husband or mom or dad. Like you just want to come in the room as yourself, right? So this is what we're going to talk about today. What I am doing is giving you 3 ways to separate yourself from your titles. And so again, make sure that you guys, as you are coming on, be sure to observe the 3 rules of protocol. Number 1, you want to say hello so that way I can speak back. Number 2, you want to like and share the video, like and share. And then number 3, tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. Okay. So again, the types of people that you would tag for this video are people who are flustered with always kind of being swept under the same umbrella. So it's like, okay, I'm not coming. This isn't my daughter's game, so I don't want to be such and such's mom, or this isn't my professional environment, so I don't want for you to reference me as such and such. Okay, so that's kind of where we're trying to go with this. And so, like I say, I want to just give you guys 3 surefire ways that can help you to separate yourself from your titles. And so, like I said, hey, Paula, so a lot of times we can have different titles. So, again, make sure we understand we're not just talking about academic titles. We're not just talking about MBA, PhD, we're not just talking about that. We're not just talking about doctor, lawyer, all of that, right? Because many of us wear many hats. And so the question came to me, I was asked to address, how do we separate ourselves from our titles? How do we, how when I show up in a place, how is it that people will just see me, or how can I get people to see me and not all of my titles? Okay, so let's go into, again, I'm going to discuss 3 ways. If you guys have not already connected with me across social media platforms, please feel free to do so at Educated and Empowered, the number 2. But I'm going to discuss 3 ways, and these again are in no particular order, but 3 ways that you can implement. And if you guys have ever listened to me before, you know that I don't do a lot of fluffing, and I like to, the way that I show you that I appreciate your time for investing in me is giving you stuff that you can like implement by the end of the video. So you, if this is a problem for you, then I'm sure one, if not all of these ways, you will find to be helpful. Okay. So one of the things that you can do if you are, wanting to separate yourself from how other people typically see you, right? So one of the things that you can do is not join things, not join organizations, not join groups that is connected to that premise. So in other words, let's say you are a teacher and you're tired of people referencing you as a teacher, then don't join teachery things. Don't join organizations that you're going to see teachers at. Don't go to events where other teachers congregate, right? So I know it may sound very simple, but think about it. A lot of times how we're known, that's kind of like the company that we keep, right? So like for over a decade I was solely in the literary world, and so that means that like so many of my friends were all in the literary world. So whether they were authors or publishers or aspiring authors, you know they may have been editors. Like I have so many different connections in the literary world, and so it's like when you're trying to pull yourself from that world, then that means that you got to put yourself in a different world. So you can't, okay, well, I want to be taken seriously as a filmmaker, but I'm still going to all of these author events. Well, the authors are going to always see you as an author because that's how they've always seen you. So if you no longer want to be known as an author, stop going to author events. If you no longer want to be, or I don't even want to say no longer want to be, but at least if within this season of your life, whether the season is that day, whether the season is the quarter, whether the season's for the year, like if you, for whatever the time period is, if you don't want to be connected to whatever that title is, then do not interact with people that's within that same industry or that same realm, right? If you are a parent and you're like, man, because I'm more than just such and such mom, then don't keep going. Like, don't keep going to the games. Don't keep going to the events where that's how people know you and that's how people see you. So I hope that that makes sense. Okay. So that's the first tip, is to make sure that you stop joining or attending events where people see you as that particular title. Hello to Zeta, Mayville, Scott, Terry. Thanks all to everybody who is tuning in, whether you all again are joining via Noon Vibe, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And again, today we are just going over really quickly 3 ways that you can separate yourself from your titles. So the first way that I gave you all was to stop attending events or joining organizations that's tied to the ways that you don't want to be seen. Okay. So now the second way to separate yourself from your title is to introduce yourself. So, in other words, let's say you're going to a new place in space, and I put myself on blast. So it's like, everywhere I go, I don't necessarily want to be known as whatever it may be, right? When I was not necessarily saying transitioning from the literary realm, because I still help people in that regard. Like I've been in the literary world for over a decade, like 20 books, national awards, international recognition, local recognition. So I can't escape that. If you Google me, that's what's gonna come up on your Google search for a minute. I mean, it's gonna be other stuff too, but it's going to be a lot of literary stuff because that's what I did for 10 years of my life. However, if I'm going into a new space and if I do not want, excuse me, excuse me, but if I do not want for new people to reference me in a particular way, so again, in this example, if I'm going to new rooms, new territories, and if I don't want the people who've never known me before to know that I'm an author, then don't introduce yourself that way, right? And for me, let me tell you, sometimes it's just like autopilot where I don't even be meaning to, but because for so long that's how I'm introduced, it's just naturally, when people be like, "What you do?" Oh, I'm an author. You know what I'm saying? Because and again, it's not that that's no longer what I am. If I never write another book, I will always be an author, right? Nothing will ever take away from that. If I never make another documentary, nothing can take away from the fact that I'm a documentarian because this is what I've already done, right? But again, if you are in a place where you are trying to transition and you want for people to see you differently, then introduce yourself the way that you want to be seen. So if you're coming, and again, let's give a different type of example. Let's say if you it's not a point that I am advocating this, but I'm just giving you an example. Let's say if you are newly divorced, right? And so maybe a whole lot of people knew you as Mrs. Jones, just say, okay. So like now, if I'm coming into a new space and I don't want to still be thought of in that light, instead of introducing myself as Mrs. Jones, I'm going to introduce myself as Mrs. Jackson, okay, or Miss Jackson. So I'm no longer Mrs. Jones, I'm now Miss Jackson. So therefore, so now when people see you, because I always say, or actually, I didn't say this, but it has been said. The cliche is people treat you, show people how to treat you, right? So it's also you show people how to engage with you. And so if I don't want to be known as a divorcee, then I don't introduce myself that way. I introduce myself to people the way I want to be known. If I enter into a room, then I'm not going to enter into the room. If I'm tired of titles, then I won't enter the room using titles. It like there's so first of all, just for the record, y'all, your girl got a 5011 titles, okay? In a spiritual world, I'm married to a pastor, so I'm a first lady, I'm an evangelist. In the literary world, international award winning author. In the, movie world, international award winning filmmaker, won both national and international awards or whatever for the things that I've done. You go into certain worlds, they know me as a speaker, they know me as a coach, I'm somebody's wife, I'm a whole lot of people's mamas. So it just depends on, what realm. Politically, I'm a candidate. For a long time, I was the chairwoman of the Cook County Green Party. For over a decade, I was an LSC chairperson. So it's like, depending on what room we go in, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably a leader in said room. And I'm not saying that to, this is not bragging, but this is to kind of just spread a point. There are times when I just want to be Toneal. So it's like a lot of times when I go places, I just like rec- when people say to me, "How do you want for me to reference you? How do you want for me to introduce you, Toneal?" You can just say to them, it's okay. Like it don't have to be followed by MBA. Like I know that I have a master's. So like it's for me, let's say it like this. For me, I'm the type of person where I'm good with knowing who I am. And I only use my titles when they're necessary. So it's like if I am in a political room, then most times people will not know I'm a first lady or an evangelist. It's nothing about being ashamed of who I am. Most times people may not know that I'm an international award winning author or filmmaker. Why? because it's not relevant to the room that I'm in, right? So that's another way, and that wasn't even my third way. So I guess that's like two at two B, So you use the title. You don't have to if you're trying to separate yourself from your titles, and if you have multiple titles, then only use the titles that's relevant for the room that you're in, right? Like my sister would always joke and say, "Girl, by the time you finish telling everybody who you are, I know they tired, your mouth should be dry because you do so much." And for me, I realized that I can be an overwhelming personality, right? Like, in other words, if somebody is just getting to know me for the first time, think about it. A lot of times when you're coming to a new space and people say, "What do you do?" Always ask people, it depends on what you need. That's really my response. What do you do? What do you need? Because most people don't believe that one person can do as many things as I have done. And again, that is not out of a space of arrogance, and I'm saying that it's a space of fact. There are a lot of things I've been able to accomplish, and it's just like the other thing is a lot of people are not interested. People, what I have found is that people are interested in you for what they're interested in you for, right? So like if I need an editor, I don't care you wrote 20. Well, maybe I might care if you wrote 20 books, because then that might add to your credibility of being my editor. But if I need an editor, I don't care that you did have an award-winning documentary. That's not relevant to me. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people, that's how they think. So they only really want to know the part of you that benefits them. And so I will say that again, that's tip number two. How to separate yourself from your title is really to just introduce yourself the way that you want to be known, a aka or only introduce the title that's relevant to the room, right? So if you don't want everybody to know that you got 11 titles, you in one room that requires one title, so only give them that one title. And the more that people are around you, then they will naturally start asking, different things, if they're interested, or it'll start unfolding. The longer that you're around somebody, then they'll start, "Oh, I didn't know that you also did this. I didn't know you did, girl, you do this too." So like after a while, people will start to kind of know who you are just from being around you. So this is Mayville that is coming to the microphone with either a question or a comment about our topic on today. How you doing, Mayville?
Hi, Miss Toneal. How are you?
I am well.
Yes, I love what you're telling. Sometimes it's it's better you are be in like stay on the ground. Like just a simple human being, and don't the you, like for me personally, I just want to be like simple. If they ask me like just call me Mabel.
Mm-hmm.
Just call me Mabel. So if they know if they want to know me, they're the one who just they will dig or they will ask who am I, and then I start telling.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love what you said, like just stay on the ground, like just be simple. Because I don't know if this one is related, but I have one incident that people will treat you
Mm-hmm.
the way like the way you look, the way you wear your clothes, the way you dress up or so. And then I have one incident that I remember to like a couple years ago. So me and my husband, especially my husband, he's a really really simple guy, and we went to this house hunting, and then you know what happened to us? Nobody want to entertain us.
Wow.
Nobody. I know. I can feel it. And so my husband wearing this clothes, like actually it's just he's wearing this clothes like a t-shirt clothes that I think they have a hole in the back or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
we just go to that area. So we're looking for the house, and then I said, oh, I told my husband like I like this design, and then I want to ask, and then this lady don't entertain us. Like, oh my god. So okay, so
Wow.
even if they don't entertain us, I just like keep looking because I want this house. So just keep looking the design, and and so we finished the tour, and then this lady don't entertain us, but she is entertaining the other people. It's like okay, and then I told my husband like okay, let's go home, and then but I really interested this house, so we go back again, and then we bring the paper, and then that time I go to the manager, and then I said like, oh, I like this house, I like this house, but my husband's still wearing the simple clothes, and you know what happened when we talked to the manager, and then they show the paper, and then this lady start like entertaining us, like okay, what's wrong with this lady?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like I feel like discrimination, or I don't know. Like for me, I don't want to get what do you call it, like I'm just we are just being simple, like I don't want to engage anybody, like if you don't entertain us, it's okay. I will not doing here that you to have a show here, like hey, you're not entertaining us, you know, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, and da. So I'm just a simple thing like okay, let's go. If they don't want to entertain us, let's go. And then but then I'm really um I like the house, so that's why we go back, and then we actually go to the manager, and then the manager entertain us, and the lady don't have a choice to entertain us because they give the paper to the lady. So I think they look as like, oh, I think they don't have money or whatever, but it's just like discrimination. Why people look based on your how you clothes,
Yep.
how yeah, it's so weird.
But you know what? It's because of the society that we live in, where people believe that, they believe in quote unquote dressing the part. So, a lot of times people feel like, okay, well, if you have money, then you're going to be wearing your money, wearing your labels, and not realizing that most wealthy people don't wear labels. Most wealthy people are not walking around wearing $1,000 pair of shoes, a $10,000 pair of shoes, like because they know how to manage their money. So most of the time, it's people who actually feel the need to prove themselves that think that they have to wear these labels to be, accepted or to make a statement. But the real statement is knowing that you don't have to say anything because you're already living it.
Yes, that's right. So that for me, I do that. I will never, and I will do anything that they have a friction in there. It's just like, okay, hon, let's go home, and then. But since I'm serious, I have to go back there, and then I will not talking to you, lady. I will go to the manager. But yeah, I will. I agree with you that sometimes people they said like don't judge the cover. How do you
Hmm.
say it? Don't
Don't
judge the
judge a
book
book
by its
by its
cover.
cover. Yep.
Yeah, it's I think it's a common thing that people will easily judge you based on your look, based on your
Hmm.
thing, and they don't really care about it. Like
Hmm.
what if some people
Hmm.
is the they respond in a different way. That's the one that they start getting friction. Like, hey, why are you not entertaining me? Like that. Some people they do like that. But for me, I will not doing that. I will not put it my waste my energy to fight for you because you're not entertaining me. I will
Absolutely.
go. So I will do it. Yeah, I will go the different way and the nicest way that that they will get my attention, and they give the right customer service.
Hmm. No, I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. And I want to thank you so much for coming in because I'll just expound on that a little bit. But thank you so much for sharing, coming to the mic and sharing, Mabel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina. Have a good
You
day.
too. Continue listening to the rest of the show. Well, guys, if you are just now tuning in, what we're talking about today is I'm giving you guys three ways that you can separate yourself from your titles. And this came about, there was somebody who had kind of wrote to me on Facebook and they were asking, I'm tired of every time I go here, people automatically assume that, because they know that I'm blank, so this is my job title. Then every time I go somewhere, that's how they see me. And that's how they reference me. And there are times when I just want to be me, minus the title. And so, the question came if I would discuss, if I would share, how do you separate yourself from your titles? And so on today's show, what I've been doing is giving you three ways, right? Because there are multiple ways that you can do it, but these are my three ways that you can implement to separate yourself from your titles. And so the first way that I talked about was not to join any organizations or attend any events that's connected to your unwanted titles. It's so much stuff that's going on in the world. It is no reason why. So if I don't want for people to know that I'm a cook, then I'm not going to go to any chefing events, right? Like, I don't need to get any more friends that's in that industry or having other people to know me or sign up for additional things. Like, if I'm trying to separate myself from that, then don't get deeper involved. The second thing that I said was to introduce yourself how you want to be known, right? So, in other words, like if I gave the example, if you are divorced, then don't still introduce yourself as your married last name, right? Like, so in other words, all of these things, these have to be intentional choices that you are making, because at the end of the day, no matter what your title is, whether it is parent, partner, leader, whatever it is, chances are you have been seen doing this a lot. That's the reason why people know you in this light. And so it has to be just as intentional if you do not want to be known that way. So again, you're telling people how to treat you. You introduce yourself the way you want for people to reference you, right? And so before we go on to number three, quick shout out to everybody who is tuned in. And I'll go through all of you all's names, especially on Noon Vibe, before I end the live. But the last one, it ties into, because I want to thank Mabel for coming to the microphone, because that's definitely another way. I don't know, depending on how old you are, I grew up watching the Cosby Show. And if you know about this show, the Cosby Show, it was a husband and a wife with five children. The husband was a doctor, the wife was a lawyer, right? And so what Dr. Huxtable would do, there was this one episode where he was looking to buy a car, right? And I'm bringing up this example because it ties into what Mabel was talking about. So, as a doctor, what do we think when we think doctors? We think people who are prestigious, people who have at least a couple coins, they look nice, they have nice things. But well, this particular episode, Dr. Huxtable was going to buy a vehicle, and he knew that had he gone in looking like a doctor, that he would not get a good deal on his car. If he was dressed like a doctor, people referenced him as Dr. Huxtable, then he knew that he wouldn't get a good deal. Now, am I saying that it was right for him to purposely try to deceive the salesman? No, I'm not saying that is right, but I'm saying that that is a great example of how he went into the guy's office, and he's dressed in some sweatpants, old tattered t-shirt, oversized jacket with a baseball cap or whatever. So really kind of playing down his profession. And so, to the point that Mabel brought up, a lot of times people think that they know you based upon the outfit that you have on. They think that if they see you with a great outfit on, or they look and they see you got on, a pair of shoes that are very expensive, then they automatically try to categorize you. They automatically try, like if they see, oh, this person must really be somebody, right? And not understanding that if anybody save up their money, they can buy whatever clothes, or just because I have on clothes that might be tattered and old, you don't know, I could have just finished doing housework, right? And so this is why it is, as we talked about in the Mabel's comment, we have to be careful not to judge a book by its cover, because you don't know anything about this person other than what you've seen for these couple of minutes, right? And so, but the last tip that I'm gonna give, it is very closely tied to the second tip that I gave, which is be seen doing what you, or be seen doing the work, be seen in action doing what you want people to know you as, right? So like, say if you're like, okay, well, I'm tired of people calling me this when I'm now that. Okay, well, stop doing the first thing and be seen more doing the second thing. Like, as a life coach, one of the things I tell people all the time, like when we're working on building your brand, sometimes you have to revamp, right? And so if you no longer want to be known as, I'm trying to just think of something, like if you're revamping your brand and you no longer want to be known as X, then stop offering products and services that's connected to X. Or if maybe say you were once a coach, but now you want to more so be known as a speaker, then you need to be seen speaking. You need, so if you want the people to think of you as a keynote speaker, think of you as, a facilitator, then you need to start putting out footage, putting out reels, putting out things that show you in this new light, right? And so again, understanding when we're saying separate you from your titles, like, the whole point is that there will be some times where you don't want to be referenced as anything, right? And so just a quick example, I'm a creator of a group that's called I'm Glad to Be a Woman. And it literally is exactly what it sounds like. It is a women's empowerment group where we celebrate all what it means to be a woman. It doesn't matter your age, your color, so we don't care about your race, we don't care about your religious affiliation, your political affiliation, we don't care about your marital status. If you are a woman, then you are welcomed in this group. We don't care about your profession. Like, we, I don't care if you have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctoral degree. I don't care if you're a high school dropout. It doesn't matter, because in this group, we're not referencing each other by titles. We're not referencing each other. There is no seniority. There is no, oh, well, because you have this many degrees, you're better than the person that has this many or none at all. We don't reference job titles. When you come in there, you come in as your name. That's it. And I set the group up like that. This group has been around for about 5 years now. And I started this organization because, being a woman myself, I understand that so many times women are the support system for their circle, whether it's their significant other, their children, their parents, their siblings. Like, we're typically the go to. We're the ones that's asking everybody, how is your day? We're the ones that's checking on everybody else. And many times we don't have anybody checking in on us. So the whole premise of I'm Glad to Be a Woman is, here's your support group. Here is your people that's asking you, how was your day? Here is your system that's saying, hey, we're cheering for you. So it doesn't matter if you close $1 million deal or you just finished getting lunch together for your children. At the end of the day, we are celebrating you. Whatever means something to you means something to us, right? And so in this group, this is a group where there are no titles. Like, the only way we'll know your titles is if you tell us. But we come in, and the whole premise is we just want to celebrate you as the person, right? So in either case, these are different ways in which you can separate yourself. So if you just don't want to be known, like you want to be totally anonymous, then again, let's go back. If you want to be totally anonymous, you don't want nobody to know nothing about you, then don't join any groups where it's necessary to reveal stuff that you do. Don't connect with people. Don't have conversations that's going to lend themselves where it may be, revealed what it is that you do. So if you want to be totally anonymous, then go to new rooms, go to new places, go to new spaces, and just introduce yourself as your name, not as whatever titles, not as somebody's wife, somebody's mama, doctor, esquire. No, my name is whatever is on your birth certificate. That's it. That's all. No letters, no initials, no nothing. Right. And so you're introducing yourself. So you have a key role in how people see you. And even if, you don't go into new places and spaces, you can tell people, you know what, for today, this is how I want you to refer to me. And I'm talking about even in your household that works. You tell your children, you know what, today, mama, daddy, we just on break right now. Now, obviously, if you got little ones, then that don't work because you always got. But if you have children that are, old enough to be able to be self sufficient, I'm taking a break today. Don't call me today. I'm not mama. Mm-mm. Unless the house is burning down. Like unless somebody ears chopped off, like fingers stuck somewhere, like don't go getting yourself into emergency. Sit down somewhere. Mama's off duty. I'm not even here, right? So those are the things that you want to do. You want to make sure you're introducing yourself. You want to make sure you're telling people what it is that you need. And then, like I said, if maybe it's not all the titles that you're trying to separate yourself from, and it's just some of them, then make sure you're in the right rooms. Don't still be in the old rooms with new titles. And I hope that makes sense. If you are now an author, stop going to filmmaker rooms if you don't want to no longer be referred to as a filmmaker. If you are now a chef, stop going into the teacher rooms. Like you have to understand that you also can't have it both ways. So it's like if all you want to be known as is this, then that means that you can't bring up the old experiences. Why? Because if you start having the old experiences, then what's going to inevitably happen? People are then going to find out what your title was. They're going to find out what you used to do. So that means that when you start fresh, you literally have to start fresh. So just make sure that you understand all of that when you're getting involved in. And I'll say this, most of us, if you're working hard to, if you're working in a particular industry, like for me, again, I'll put myself on a chopping block. Like, again, I say for well over a decade, what I had a premier role in the literary world. I'm an author, I'm a publisher, I used to own a bookstore, I had organization where I'm helping, independent authors learn how to effectively market, promote, and sell their books. I had a writer society where I'm teaching people how to write. We're creating anthologies every year. I'm celebrating independence. So it's like I was fully engrossed in the literary world for well over a decade. Well, I'm kind of transitioning now, right? So it's like I'm now more so coach and speaker, and obviously podcaster, but I'm more so in the coach and speaker role where instead of having the full blown organization, if you want to work with me one on one, like that knowledge never leaves. If this is something that I did and did well, if I must say, for over a decade, then that's not going to just be gone anywhere. But where I am in this point in my life is I'm more so in a place where I want to just be able to give it back, give whatever knowledge that I have, give it back in a way that's going to help people be successful. And so it's the same thing, but just in a different facet, right? So instead of spending so much time helping people build all of their brands, this is a way of me doing both simultaneously. I'm continuously building my brand because when I first came out, I was more so one that wants to be in the background. And it's not necessarily that I want to be in the forefront. It's just that I see the transition that's happening and I'm no longer bucking against it, right? So I've been being called to come to the front of the room for a very long time. And it's like before, I didn't have the confidence to do it at one point. And then it was like I was more engrossed in other people's stuff than my own. But now I'm at a place where I am comfortable being in the forefront. I understand what my business is. So now there is a confidence level that I have in understanding why other people need what it is that I offer, right? And so the point that I'm making is I will forever be an author. I don't know when I'll publish my next book, but I'll forever be an author. I'll always have that experience that comes with it. That's the reason why on Thursdays when we're talking about professional development, aka author type stuff, that's where the credibility comes from. I've been doing this long. I've been any capacity that you can name that comes with books. I've been a reviewer, been an editor, been a publisher, yeah, again, own bookstore. So like anything to do with words, I've done it. And so I can tell you how to write a book. I can help you get over your hump. I can help you with editing, with publishing. I can do all of that stuff in my sleep. So it's like, but do I physically still want to do it for me? No. But if that's what you want to do, then I can help you accomplish that, whether it is, via live course, whether it's in a master class, whether it's coaching, our individual coaching sessions, like that's the way that I want to do. And so my point to you guys is you have to figure out what you want to be known for, how you want to be known, how do you want people to perceive you. And if you're doing your own self-assessment and you realize that how you want to be known is not how most people know you, then that might mean it's time for you to do a shift. And so if anybody needs help, and just real quick, if somebody needs help with that shift, then that's also what I offer under that whole lit life coaching umbrella. We can do a consultation, we can build your business blueprint. But the point is, you got to first be able to see that. If you're frustrated with being known in a particular way and you want to change that, then you got to change that. You can't, put the burden on everybody else to see you differently. Why did they start seeing you in whatever the particular way was? Undoubtedly you had a hand in that. So now if you created the monster, you got to destroy the monster, right? So in either case, guys, that is today's show. We know that tomorrow I'll be live at 5 with words of wisdom, so there'll be some type of inspirational, empowering type conversation to keep you all going and understanding that, yeah, life is life, and but you can get through it. And then for all of you who might be from Chicago, from Cook County, and we know that today is election day, for everybody that has voted for your girl, let me tell you the tears that I have cried. And that's why I say whether I win or lose the election matters not, because I've already won. To have this many people, I mean, I got people that I don't even know that's, hey, I endorsed you, or I voted for you, tagging me on social media. It has really done something for me. It's really helped me. And I'm just so eternally grateful. And so I'm sure by, this time tomorrow, um, if it's, like if it's neck and neck, then we won't officially know. But it's a good chance that by this time tomorrow, I will know the results, whether or not I am a new commissioner for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And so we'll see whether or not that's going to be a part of the next chapter of my life or not. But regardless, either way it goes, win or lose, I am just grateful for all that has happened. I'm so grateful to all of you. And again, if you are not already following me across social media platforms, please feel free to do so. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Noon Vibe at Educated and Empowered, the number two. If you would like to be connected to me outside of these platforms, then please inbox me on those respective platforms your email address, so that way I can add you to our newsletter, and you get those twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I still got to get the one out today, but on Tuesdays, I educate you with whatever events and opportunities that I have available. And on Thursdays, I empower you with some tip or word of wisdom. wisdom. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and to everybody over here on Noon Vibe. And I always have to give Noon Vibe a different shout out, a special shout out, because they're not able to see me. They're only able to hear me, and yet and still they stay tuned in. And so too, Paula and Terry, Scott, Mabel, Zeta, Elizabeth, Dr. Robert, hey Dr. Robert, Robert Davis, to Louise, D. Thomas, Diane, Peter, Bettina, and Jennifer. Thank all of you so much for tuning in to me. And I'm so grateful again to all of you guys. And I hope that you have been able to get educated and get empowered with Toneal. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, you all stay inspired.